Hello everyone, my name is Gabriel, and today I'm really excited to be presenting on behalf of my co-authors our work titled Blaming Humans and Machines, What Shapes People's Reactions to Algorithmic Harm. So our research starts with the question of who is responsible when algorithms cause harm to individuals. Let's think about the case of bias-based decision-making. Who is responsible? Is it the judges that work alongside these algorithms? Is it the developers who actually train the system? Or maybe it's the local government that decided to deploy the system in such high-risk scenario. The issue here is that none of these entities has total control over the algorithm or understand how they work completely, creating a responsibility gap and making it hard to determine who is responsible when things go wrong. Many scholars have proposed explainability as a way to bridge this gap. The idea is that explainable systems would remain under the control of humans and thus maintain moral responsibility. In this research, we explore whether explainability does indeed facilitate finding an entity responsible when an algorithm makes a harmful decision. We conducted 3 studies investigating how several factors impact blame judgment of AI systems, developers, and users. Due to some time limitations, I'm going to focus on 2 of these factors. First, whether the system is explainable, and 2, people's attitudes towards AI. So let me start with study 1. Study 1 was a vignette-based study where we introduced Taylor, who is a software engineer that applied for a job and was rejected by an AI system. The algorithm then either gave no explanation for its decision, explained that Taylor does not have the necessary explanation, therefore gave an explanation, or justified its decision based on gender, which is clearly discriminatory. We then asked participants how much blame the AI system, its developer and user, deserved for the decision. We also asked why in an open-ended manner. So, moving on to the results, we first found that simply providing explanations, right, like implementing explainability, does not really impact the perceived blame of any of these entities. On the other hand, however, providing discriminatory explanations increase blame towards the developer and user, but not the AI system. When we looked over the open-ended justifications of blame judgment of the algorithm, we found that some people mentioned the developers and users when attributing blame to the machine. For instance, some people said that algorithms are programmed by people, used by people, and thus should not be blamed. We used a regular expression to identify people who mentioned the developer and user when blaming the algorithm, and found that those who mentioned these actors blamed the AI systems less, but the developers and users more. As I mentioned, we conducted 2 additional studies exploring these factors further, and found consistent results all across the board. We also replicated our results in a different scenario. Instead of just focusing on hiring decisions, we also found similar results with vignettes portraying medical prioritization decisions. We then conducted a meta-analysis to calculate the average effect size of each of our treatment conditions and found clear results. Explainability itself, just providing an explanation, had no impact on blame judgments. On the other hand, discriminatory explanations increase blame towards developers and users, but not for the AI. What is also interesting here is that discriminatory explanations had a larger effect on blame towards the developers than users. When looking at people's justifications, we found across all studies that people who did not mention the developer and users when judging the machine blamed the AI systems more and the other actors less. Given the large effect size of people's justifications on blame judgments of the AI system, as shown in the previous slide, we went over people's open-ended responses quite qualitatively. Our qualitative coding identified 4 categories. First, some people highlighted the role of algorithms in the decision-making process, or stated that the algorithm itself is to blame, which we coded as machine. Others denounced the idea of blaming AI systems, even saying that it does not make any sense, which we code as not machine. Finally, some participants highlighted the role of developers and users in the decision-making process, which we coded as programming and usage, respectively. We then regressed participant blame judgments of the AI system to these categories using dummy variables. We found that those who are open to the idea of blaming machines blame the decision-making algorithm as much as the other actors. On the other hand, those who view blame towards machines as nonsense choose almost not to blame them. As for people who highlighted programmers and users, they blame the algorithm moderately. So let me discuss a little bit about the implications of our results. First, our results suggest that just providing explanations, implementing explainability, has no impact on blame judgments of the AI systems, their developers, and users. Post-Hoc explanations does not seem to contribute to the perception that those behind algorithms, such as those developing and deploying them, are responsible when things go wrong. It is important to highlight that we only focus on one type of explanation, which were natural language explanations, and future work could explore how different types of explanations impact blame judgments. Our results also raise the question of whether developers could exploit post-hoc explanations to hide the fact that algorithms are discriminatory. The issue here is that explainability is largely under the control of developers. Developers could, for instance, develop systems that give explanations that are considered fair, even when algorithms are unfair, impacting whether people blame them when things go wrong. Think about proxy attributes. If algorithms give proxy attributes as explanations, they can end up concealing the fact that they are indirectly considering protected attributes, such as race and gender. Another concerning result from our studies is that people may underreact to algorithmic discrimination. Even when the AI system gave a clearly discriminatory explanation, and illegal in most jurisdictions, like an explanation based on gender, it was not blamed more than when it provided no justification. This is in contrast to how people judge human actors. Our results suggest that people may not denounce algorithmic discrimination to the same extent as they denounce discrimination by humans, which is quite concerning, especially when the systems become more pervasive in high-risk environments. Finally, we identified that when judging AI systems, people first consider whether blaming them makes sense. Some are open to this idea and blame machines as much as other actors, like human actors. Others, on the other hand, are contrary to this idea and choose to not blame them. Our findings highlight that how the systems are portrayed and introduced to the public will impact how people react when things go wrong. If we introduce the systems as agents that must be blamed, people may turn to machines when identifying who's to blame. However, if we introduce the systems as nothing more than mere tools, people may not consider them as blameworthy. Our results also have implications to philosophical discussions on what blame is and should be, by providing this edge case where people disagree on whether blame is appropriate. So thank you so much for listening to my presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the online platform, or if you are interested in our research, feel free to also drop me an email and we can definitely have a chat. Thank you so much.